I am very, very excited for this one today. We got my main man, Jonathan Greene, in the building. Jonathan, if you could, man, I I could do an introduction, but I know I won't uh, give you the honor you deserve. So I want you to give me a self introduction, who you are, where you're at, everything you do. You bring a lot to the industry. So I'm excited to hear how your self proclaimed fame introduction here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I wish we were in the building together. That would be fun. But I did see you guys not that long ago, so that was cool. My name is Jonathan Greene. I've been involved in real estate in some capacity my whole life. I grew up with a dad who was an investor, so I've been walking properties. I've walked thousands and thousands of properties in my life. So I knew a lot about houses, and I eventually, after careers as an attorney and in the art world, and as an academic teaching at the university level, I decided to get my real estate license about 10 years ago. And my sister asked, like, we've done hundreds of transactions. Why didn't you just get it before? I'm like, that's a really good question. The time was right at my life, and I had already kind of completed the 9 to 5 thing before I went into the art world. So I was always working for myself. And since then, I've built 4 different teams. This is team number 4. Learned a lot about being an agent. I've been an on-market coach, and I guess, learned with you guys a lot about social media, real estate, branding, advertising, and I think I kind of bring that to the table. And now we're a big team at Real, growing into multi-state, and I think that's kind of the thing that I've learned the most over the years, just to get my soliloquy intro over, is
Yep.
teams are where it's at, and that's why I've been building them and kind of fine tuning them for so long. It's a different model and something that's interesting in the real estate industry.
Yeah, I love it, man. That was a great intro. I told you I could have
Thanks.
never done that. I could have never done that ever. I would have been like, "This is Jonathan. He works at Real Broker. He's
Yeah,
yeah, and he has a team. Yeah, like
yeah. I
no,
mean,
that was
I like to talk, so we know we're good once we get the mics on.
no, that was perfect, man. That was awesome. No, and I'm excited today. One to talk marketing, talk about our relationship, how we've kind of grown over the years in terms
Yeah,
of everything we've done for you. I mean, we've started with various different things. I'll let you speak on,
yeah.
but I mean, kind of to kick it off, man, where did you meet us? How'd you find out about Dippidi and kind of what brought you to hiring us?
Yeah, well, I mean, I met you before you were Dippity.
Yep.
I met you back in the old days, and then when Dippity was formed, I was like, "Ooh, that's cool." You guys are launching something cool, and I think at the time I was still. I always watch when even my friends launch something new. I never want to like hop on right away because I want to see like what's going to happen. And then as you guys kept building up, I was like, "Yeah, this is definitely something that I could work with." And I think for someone like me who's really good at branding and social media, like I always had the thing like, well, I can do this all myself, which I mean, in some contexts is true until I learned all the stuff that goes into the back end for the things that I wanted to do. But I think for everybody who's like trying to get stuff off their plate, this was a perfect opportunity for me to work with you guys, people that I already trust. I already knew you. Then I met Jared. So it was good to get in and know, like, I know we can have this, what I call the ping pong relationship, which we'll go over, like batting things back and forth to see what works instead of like just saying, here's X amount of money, do this, and then complaining that it doesn't work when, I'm not doing the things correct to help you guys make it work.
Yeah, man, you nailed that on the head. Like that's definitely how the service goes. Like we've definitely built a friendship. You know, we were friends beforehand, but it's like gotten even deeper at this point. Just like working together, collaborating together, and coming up with different marketing initiatives that we then deploy for you. So like, but when we originally started, because we've really evolved our service with
Oh, yeah,
you.
a
You know, a
lot.
lot of people will join us and they'll just do lead generation only. And, you know, some people will join us and they'll do like, we want to do a branding campaign. Some people will join us and we have a new Dippity Drops program. They'll want to get in Dippity Drops and get all their content made. But like, what was the original service that stood out that you came to us for?
I think originally I was creating a ton of content and I wanted to start running ads. I think we started by just running ads off of my live Facebook lives that I was doing.
Yes.
During the
Yep.
pandemic, I was just doing Facebook lives every day. That was like my challenge. So I would just do a short live, and we wanted to, roll those up so they would just drive traffic. And then at some point I decided, like most people, I hate Facebook. So why do I want to keep doing them there? And I think, part of the best thing about our relationship is we've always been able to pivot and use other things and never say like, hey, well, because I don't want to do Facebook, now we can't work together. I was always confident in like, this is the amount of money monthly I want to give you guys. Now let's figure out, I don't want to do Facebook anymore. Let's figure out something together. What are you guys seeing? What am I seeing? What do I like? And I also think like for me, as a team leader and someone who's has a pretty popular investing podcast, I'm always looking for which thing is in the front right now and which thing is going to be the biggest funnel. So what's the best spend of my ad dollars? And that's why we've moved it around from Facebook Live to doing some other things on marketing, and then ending up now where we're at, where we're just really replicating the YouTube videos in a 4 video spot so that we can watch the metrics. And I think we finally fine-tuned what I wanted, which was right now from this part, the small part that we're in, is I just wanted to keep growing my YouTube steadily without me having to make more, content. So my podcast videos go up. You guys are going to run the ads on the content, and then I always going over with Jared in the back end, which ones are performing better, how's the algorithm working in terms of the ads. Like we found recently that in the group of 4, the algorithm picks one that it likes and it shoves most of them on that. So then we figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do with the other ones? When do they drop off? And I think that's where the bi-weekly meetings with Jared and always talking about stuff and us trying to like figure out, hey, what are you seeing? What are agents doing that sucks? What am I doing that's different? And where can we press the buttons that'll make it work?
Yeah, man, no, it's shifted from those Facebook lives, and those were awesome, man. Because that's actually, maybe you were doing video before, but I love that. That's where the Jonathan Greene like
I was bored, man.
style started. That's where the style started. What I love about you is like you're like, dude, I'm not gonna go get all the big fancy cameras and do all this and only make 1 video a month. Like you're like, I'm pumping out content. I felt like you did something almost every day.
I did. And I mean,
On
that's how I grew my YouTube channel, though, is like I just committed to doing a video every day. And I think, my first job was as a trial attorney. So I did 250 real trials to verdict, not like, sitting behind a desk. And part of what I learned in that is that you really need to learn to act on your feet. I didn't have scripts or anything. I would just have bullet points. And when I make videos for, even when I started, Facebook Live, Reels on Instagram, YouTube, I have no script, nothing written down. I just turn the camera on. I finish the video. I upload it into whatever I'm uploading it in. I do the hashtags. I do whatever I need to do, make sure that part's right. And I click play. I click upload, and I don't do. Then I just do it again the next day. I don't over obsess on if my hair's out of place or if I booger out of my nose. You never know. Like sometimes you can crush a video and then look and like, oh, there's like a hair coming out of my ear. It's like, well, I mean, whatever. Like
yeah.
it's just what happens. The content's good. No one notices that stuff. And I think I realized early on after I started making a bunch of content that when people met me, they're like, oh my God, you're just like your videos. They're like, oh, I've been following on videos. You seem the same. And I'm like, yeah, is that not how it works? And then you go on social media and you're like, no, actually, it doesn't work like that. People are making polished versions, and then you meet them and they're like not as personable. And that's
Right.
weird. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
weird.
You do it raw. I love your style, man. It's always been very raw and just authentic, and it comes off in the videos. Um, I mean, in regards to like, what do you feel the biggest benefit has been with Dippidi helping you with your brand and helping you with pushing, the content you're creating?
Oh, I mean, for sure, it's just a collaboration. I mean, we've always had like-minded. We're both like up on trends in social media, but like neither of us or any of us in the industry can like predict what the algorithm's going to do next. They're just like wild devil child children. We don't know. I mean, so what we always try to do is work together. So I can get a second set of eyes. From the back end of like, hey, here's what these back end statistics tell us, and where we're seeing the money spend. And for me, like I always want to make sure that I like to pay my people who I like and believe in and trust, and then I like to work together with them. And I know, because like Jared and I always talk about, you and I talk about it. There's a lot of like client business relationships that are just like just transactional, and then there's always complaints at some point, you know. So I always wanted to be in all these relationships, like feeling like, yeah, we're partners together. Like you have my best interest. I want to help you guys. You know, I want to push you guys out there to my friends, but only to the friends that I like.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to like burden you with some, you know, jerk who I don't really like just so you can, you know, they'll pay you and then complain about it. So, I mean, I think like collaboration is what I'm after in real estate, even in the actual real estate market. I don't believe in competition. I think it's ludicrous. There's homes and agents everywhere. Like I don't need to compete. I'm not like other people, so I'm not in competition. I'm just doing my thing. They're doing their thing. If I like them, cool. But that's what I think it is for me. The friendship, you know, collaboration, and working together to figure out like, is this the best spend of the money? And I always felt like you guys were always really good at that. It's like, hey, you don't like this part, let's find where the best pivot is, you know. And you never, you know, how, you know, my philosophy on, you know, ads. It's like there's a lot of companies out there that are like, well, you're going to pay us this amount and then you're going to spend like way more. Like the push is on how much you're going to pay the company, and then they're like, wink wink, you have to spend 2,500 a month to make, you know, this stuff work. So we were very clear on what I was going to spend and what my ad budget was, so I knew like that's my all in. And we've never, like, no one's ever tried to be like, hey, you need to spend more. Like
Right.
that's what I think is important, because I'm not trying to get more like fake followers. I'm trying to drive client business to me, which I think is why I can use these kind of like more micro strategies with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What are some of the benefits you feel like you've seen with the YouTube side of things and like us pushing it? Like what results have you been able to have tangible with your YouTube in terms of just kind of with the consistency we've been doing? One, we can't do what we're doing without you doing what you're doing, because you're consistent with your podcast, you're
Yeah.
consistent with your content. So what benefits and results have you been able to have from using us as a vendor?
Yeah, I mean, it's a YouTube channel growth. Like I, you know, I never was after growth, but I wanted to get to 1,000 followers. And our first goal was like, can we just like not beg people to follow, but can we drive content enough that they're going to react enough to want to follow? So that's what I'm after. I'm never after, you know, vanity numbers, but it's like to get from where we started, which was like, you know, 600 or something, to then get to the 1,000 and now be averaging like just between about 30 and 45 new, you know, followers a month. That's actually a big deal, because for somebody like me, who the majority of the videos that go up are videos of the podcast, and the podcast works as a spider web for everything else. They get to that, you know, they see the video, then they go listen to the whole episode. So then they follow the podcast. Then they're like, wow, they're investor friendly. Maybe I'll work with them as a team. Or maybe I just like this guy. You know, maybe I'll follow him on Instagram. I have no real asks. I'm not like out there, you know, begging people to sign up for courses. So I'm really after what I would call like micro growth, which is people who really are invested in the content and will likely be longtime subscribers, and then likely be clients at some point for something that we offer. And
I love it.
that's a partnership thing together, where we look at it and like, you know, is the growth working? Is this stuff I was getting off in the beginning of Facebook worth it? It wasn't in the end. We were doing great, but I wasn't seeing the results that I wanted, because I didn't want to grow on Facebook. I do want to grow on YouTube, because it's a search engine. It's not a video platform. So if you know how these things work, you figure out where to spend the money.
Yep. Yep, man, you're nailing that on the head. Like YouTube is such a great platform. Like this video will end up on YouTube, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's a great platform for the simple fact of the consumer on YouTube also is going to YouTube not to watch videos for 22 seconds. Like they know they're going to sit down and
Yeah,
get into
exactly.
something. And so if you can make that long form content, even if they watch 5 minutes of you, sometimes it baffles me. I'm like, someone watch and listen to me for 5 minutes, like that's kind of
Yeah.
crazy,
That's
and
the thing in the business, and what I've always said, like it does. If I spend anything on marketing, like regard, just I never spend like I'm not spending like $100,000 in a chunk. Whatever I spend on marketing, if I ever get one deal off of it, it's all paid for,
yep.
like on an
Oh
annual
yeah.
basis. And usually way more than that. So it's like people's goals are too big. Like once I hit one, then I'm good. If I hit one in the first month, then it's like, wow, I just paid for my whole year. Now I can upgrade and I can start pushing to it. But to your point about YouTube, it's like I personally like Instagram. I really like it, but it's fun for me. I don't, it's not evergreen. Like people don't go to my Instagram profile and scroll back to 2010. You know what I mean? It takes too long. On
Yeah,
YouTube, it's like, hey, I want to buy a house in Montclair. They're gonna find my video because it's a search engine. Instagram's not a search engine. It's like a very real time post thing that, and the algorithm again is the devil. I mean, it's just the
yeah,
devil.
yeah. You in order to do it on these on the platforms like Instagram, TikTok, all that, you're an ongoing. It's a hamster
Yeah,
wheel.
yeah,
It's an ongoing burn. You could actually make like I know some agents who have made videos for a year on YouTube who are getting inbound phone calls from them, but I haven't made another video in 3 to 4 months, and
yeah,
the phone calls are still happening because it's a
exactly.
search engine. So yeah, man, I love that we've been able to help with the YouTube strategy with you. What's cool is you were like one of our first YouTube clients,
Yeah,
so it's been able to allow us to learn, adapt, and everything. So I mean, it's been fun. Um, Now, I guess if somebody were to tell you why should I do business with Dippidi? And we'll kind of wrap it up on this question. Like,
yeah,
what
for
would
sure.
you tell them?
Shoot, honest, straightforward partnership. I mean, it's a no-brainer to me. And again, I mean, like you guys know, obviously, like we're friends, but everybody knows me as like the non-bullshit guy. So, like, you know, there's a lot of BS out there. I think that you want to work with companies where you can have direct contact with the people who are in the business. You know, like there's too many funnels where it's like somebody is like, hey, yeah, we're going to get you to it. And then you hop on the call and you're like, well, who are you? And they're like, oh, I'm like 33 rungs below. Like, well, I mean, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the guy who's on the video, you know. And I
Right.
think like we've always been able to develop that. And then I remember like even like when I started working with Jared, I didn't know him yet. But then I was like, all right, let's do a couple calls. I'm like, okay, I like him, you know,
Yeah.
because he works like you. Everyone that you talk to, I think at Dippity works the same, you know, best interests of the client and not trying to like hammer into a click funnel, you know. And I don't think that you're, you know, if someone wants to build a click funnel, they still have to have a better idea around it to help you implement it, or else it's going to be short-term gain. So I think that you have your client's best interest in mind. And I think any company that's willing to say, you know what, that strategy is not that great. I know it sounds like you want to do, here's another suggestion. That means you're giving more options to people and being more than just someone, you know, signing up for a checklist.
Dude, I love it. Thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah, of
kind
course.
words. Thank you for everything, man. Yeah, we love doing these. I try to keep these under like 20 minutes
Yeah,
ish.
man.
We're at 17. So the last thing I want to wrap this up with is you talking about your art. You know, are we talking about your rap career?
Oh yeah, you mean we both have a rap career that nobody knows about? No, I was in the regular art world, but we were funny. We were DMing about our prior rap careers. Mine more underground than yours, but like it's pretty cool to think that the skill sets of stuff that we did when we were younger, they still play a role. The reason why I can make videos without giving a crap for any second is because I used to do trials and I didn't have a choice. And before that, I used to just bust raps with my friends. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And if you're sitting, we used to stand on a log in junior high and just freestyle, terrible, like usually about each other. But like, if you can do that, that's why I can make videos without worrying. You know,
Yep.
it's part of it. Like, I'm never going to become Harry Mack, which would be really sweet. But I can on a YouTube, I can open up a video and I can talk for an hour on pretty much any subject in real estate, and then I can call you guys and say, I think this video is good. Let's ramp it up a little. And then the most important thing is I don't have to do the technical work because that's not my one thing. It's not my skill set. So I'd much rather pay experts who I trust to do that lifting for me and then figure out where else to push it from there.
I love it, dude. Yeah, the rap career has helped me so much. So I think anybody that probably just heard that and had laughed at it, like, wait, your rap careers
I
have
know.
helped you,
Yeah.
right? It really has. It'll build confidence in you. It'll get you. You're putting yourself out there. So
Yeah.
everybody watching this, if you're a real estate agent, you need to open up YouTube, put on, you know, Snoop Dogg type beat, and just start freestyling, and
Get
it'll
something.
change your career. It'll
Yeah,
change
but
your
look,
career.
you were on stage, right? You know, like when we met, I was on stage at Curator. I was standing on the stage, and people were like, how can you do that for an hour with just like a clickable note? This is my expertise.
Yep.
Like this is what I'm good at, but I'm not scared to be on there because I used to sit around and do that all day, every day.
Yep. Exactly, man. That's so funny. Yeah, whenever you wrote me in the DMs, you're like, "Dude, I had a rap career." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, you did not."
Oh
And it
yeah.
makes total sense now. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
love it, man. Well, I appreciate you
Yeah, man.
jumping on here. I hope anybody watching this can see, all the lies that you just said, about us. And but I appreciate it, man. Thank you for jumping on and
Yeah,
doing
man.
this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You can pay me later. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.